Hi, I am Bethany Hillman. I am a senior at MacMurray College. This is for our field seminar class, and here we go. It's about ethical dilemmas. All right. The ethical dilemma that came up was how it started was my field agency instructor and I were in communication with a mother of a minor client, trying to set up an appointment with between her schedule and the child's schedule to get an order of protection against the person that had assaulted the minor. So I called the county clerk's office to set up an appointment. How it works is you set up an appointment with the judge, and I called, ended up having to talk to the judge. While on the phone, he was very disrespectful in my opinion, made me feel like an idiot pretty much. I'm not quite sure how we got on the topic, but he kept saying, this is domestic, why are you guys involved, who are you with, that kind of questions are fine, but then he was like, why are you involved, with this domestic violence thing, and I was trying to say that it wasn't, it was sexual assault, so it was kind of, confusion there. Then, he went on to be like, you just must not work with domestic violence, or anything like that, just kind of, very, degrading, and so I started getting upset just because of how he was talking, and I was like, I don't know how to handle this. I'm gonna mess it up for my client or mess it up for future clients. So I was just like, okay. And then he was done. He's like, good luck. And then he hung up. So I was like, okay, hung up. Got off the phone and talked to my agency supervisor. I'll explain it more as we go along. So pretty much in that instance, I was trying to get something that would provide safety for my client. And there was also the issue of social justice of how I was being treated unequally and I felt with disrespect because of his power and what he was saying. Okay, there. So the NSAW Code of Ethics, values and principles that were just kind of in this whole situation was one, social justice on the part that I was trying to provide a social justice by getting this order of protection for the client, servicing a vulnerable population, because that's kind of part of the NSAW Code of Ethics values and principles. The other part was the importance of human relationships that social workers are supposed to see and understand, and the relationship my agency has between judges is very important for the client, and their relationship with the client is very important, part of safety and stuff like that. So it's hard, and you have to really have a delicate balance between working with the judge and even though I knew that I was right in asking for this and that we were able to get it, but you can't just go and be you're no, you're wrong. So you have to talk and smooth over and make sure everything works out for the best and nothing future relationships were messed up, not even just this case. The EPS ethical principle screen, their pyramid that we know, first top is protection of life, the most important thing, and then below that is social justice, which the social justice part came up first because of how I was not treated equally, so it's kind of between me and the judge, but it wasn't about me, it wasn't about my agency, it was about the client. So that's where protection of life over-trumped, because we were trying to provide safety for the client. So that kind of nothing to do with me, push that aside, don't worry about that. So because of that, little things coming up against each other, like I said, there's two ways to kind of go about how I could have talked to the judge or how my agency supervisor could have talked. Could have been you're wrong, I can read you the statute right here, or try to smooth things out, try to work it out, come back and try to maybe do it a little differently and hopefully persuade them, because it was important for the client to be safe, and that's what we were trying to do. So the decision that we came to was after I got off the phone, my agency supervisor was seeing that I was upset, and I told her what he had said, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna call. So she called, was trying to figure out where the misunderstanding about domestic violence was still coming from, and she was like, this is sexual assault, and she was trying to talk and see why he was saying those things, and pretty much he was giving her the same answer that, why hasn't there been an arrest? There needs to be an arrest, and she kind of slipped one little educational piece in that there didn't really need to be an arrest, but she'll find out why, or trying to that, and he was pretty much, well, you get your ducks in a row, and you call me back. So we weren't getting any, he wasn't even going to listen to the client about the situation that was going on to try to get this order of protection for this child. So what we did was we put our heads together. We found a way around this judge without hurting that important relationship for future clients that might have to deal with him. What happened was, to file an order of protection, you have to, there's like three different ways you can pick which county to do it in. We had tried to file in the county that the child lived in, but we were lucky, well, I hate to say lucky enough, but it just happened to work out that where the perpetrator and where it happened was in a different county. So we were able to, I was able to just call up and be like, hey, we need to file this order of protection, can we get an appointment? And they were like, yes. So it just worked out a lot easier, and we were able to do that without hurting that relationship in the future with that judge, because it didn't really, we had valid reason for going to the other county. Success, ambiguity, and struggles. The success was, obviously, we were able to get the order of protection for the child, which was our ultimate goal of protection of life, and without really upsetting that judge, kind of smooth him over, didn't have anything to do with him for the rest of it. Ambiguity, I said we were kind of unsure, like there was a moment where she had kind of slipped in just a little bit, like, you know, he doesn't really, like, we don't need to have her arrest, so like that part could have been like, he could have just like blew up at the educational piece. Struggles was, we were coming up against a judge that has a lot of power. They hold a lot of power in relationships versus like clients and stuff like that, and like that power versus like him saying that I know the laws, I know what I'm talking about, versus like two people that are like intern and the legal advocate like way down here, but like my agency supervisor, she does this 5 days a week. She knows what she's talking about. We could highlight the law book and send it to him if we really wanted to prove that we were in the right. So that was kind of a struggle, like smooth talking and keeping that balance without like upsetting that for future clients or anything with that. So it's kind of different. So it was a struggle. And then learning, like career-long learning of ethics. I said going to seminars or like trainings about ethics, or like just trainings about different topics, kind of that would have to do with ethical decisions. One of like the most important things I think for me with ethical, like that I learn all the time, is just going and talking to my agency supervisor. Like I've gained so much knowledge, and I'm like, did I do this right, or is there more? And that played a really important role for me, like big time. So it kind of like reassures me, and like, oh, maybe I should have done that a little bit differently. So that really is a big important part. And then I said personal time, like reading or getting, like make sure you're up to date with your agency policies, laws that might change, have to do with like ethics changing or how you react. Sorry, this is why I brought this. Okay, anyways, last thing, how ethics kind of I think will improve social structure business is because ethics kind of, you deal with ethics all the time, and that really plays a part in the role with the client. So I think it's really important to know your ethical boundaries and know how to deal with ethical dilemmas to have like the best relationship and best working relationship with your client. So yeah, that's it.
Great, thank you.